So, of course, FedEx was delayed, and instead of it arriving Saturday, it arrived Monday now, but that's okay. We got all the Gibson stuff done, and here is this beautiful, beautiful beauty. I'm going to bring it inside and maybe wait a couple hours to unbox it just because, yeah, not your typical Los Angeles weather. It was raining and cold. So here we go. And as you can see, we have the same beautiful double boxing. Of course, a proprietary case to go with the Epiphone for every stage. I love the logo, and same kind of double boxing that the Gibson comes in. So very, very, very cool. Let's take it out of the main box. We are one step closer, and here it is, beautifully wrapped in plastic. A great case, man. These even have a stand on the back for protection. It's not a thing against the Gibson case because the 59 Gibson case, of course, has to be period correct. But man, this thing looks good. Let's take it out of the plastic. All right, here we go. And by the way, remember, I'm keeping these boxes, if you have cats, and because that's the guitar I will be giving away. So if you're watching this, today is May 1st, 2023, and on May 7th, I will be doing a 2-week-long contest to promote my new music video. And in honor of that, I will be giving away this guitar. But let's start with the case, man. This case is awesome. I mean, dude, this case is no joke. Heck, wow, this is really good quality stuff, man. I mean, this is no lesser than any modern Gibson case that I've come across. So here we go. I love the kind of oxidized vintage latches and the style of keeping this authentic, kind of like, you know, that vintage vibe. And here we go. Oh, I forgot a latch. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Whoa, wow. Wow. You know what? I'm going to move on the other side of the light. Give me 1 second. Get on. Get on. Give me a kiss. Ooh, get on. Okay. Here we go again. All right. I just moved the light over a little bit. Wow. Of course, still has the plastic covers on. I will be removing those for the sound test. So whoever the lucky winner is, that is the one thing that I'm going to take off because that could potentially affect the tone a little bit. Now, I don't even need to take this out of the case to be able to tell this is a top quality guitar. I mean, let me move this a little bit. What's up, Cooter? Get down. Get down. Get down. You're going to be bumped off. You're going to be bumped off. Oh, goodness, down she goes. But, yeah, no, this is solid. So this is a veneer. This is a paper thin veneer that's laid over. So this is not, well, it technically is made out of wood, if you will, paper, but it is really kind of like a glued on hologram. Nevertheless, it looks absolutely spectacular. You know, for you to get a maple top of this kind of quality, you would have to pay. Not just for the actual thickness of the wood, but the wood itself, you know. This feels top quality. The knobs, everything. And notice, I'm instantly trying to find something wrong with it because, you know, this is not a made in USA guitar, but I can't. I mean, this looks, and these are real burst buckers. You don't have the binding over the frets, obviously. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is painted on. So this binding is painted on and not a real binding. Because, you know, on the actual binding, you can tell a little, on the Gibson, you can tell, you know, that it's not really flush because it's handmade. And so you have that beautiful human imperfection, if you will. But man, this is a stunner. Let me get back to the other side of the light and turn it over. Now, one thing that I've noticed right away, just so I mentioned this in real time, is I can tell right away that these frets are obviously not as rounded as they would be on a, call it more expensive guitar. And if I go like that and you press hard, it is really sharp. So I'm going to try to zoom in for you. They're really, really sharp. the fretwork looks amazing. I'm not sure if they pleck these, but you can tell they're sharp. And as a matter of fact, you know, a few years ago, and it's on YouTube, I bought this tribute, and I wanted to see if I can turn it into a full-fledged Les Paul, but it costing less than $2,500. And I brought this to my luthier, and he gave it, you know, Seth Meyer here, he's one of the best in the business, and he rounded them. And it's just, I mean, you can press, you don't even feel, you can press really hard. And then I, you know, put cream tone wiring in there and did the woman tone, etc. And now this thing, you know, screams. But when it came out, even though it being a USA guitar, it did have rough fret edges. The reason being for that is because to round them takes a lot of time, and it's all handwork. So they probably, I can tell you right now, the fretwork looks incredible. The frets themselves look shiny, gorgeous, beautiful. Nothing's oxidized, but they are rough. So I would probably take this to a luthier if I were to keep this, and right off the bat put in $200 for him to truly round them and make them perfection, because these are a little rough. And especially on a guitar where you have real Gibson burst bucker pickups in it, you know. So that's just a little heads up, keep that in mind. But outside of that, it looks stunning. So now I'm going to take this beautiful guitar out real quick before I even turn it over. Just want to make sure. Oh man, this is really cool. Wow. This is styrofoam underneath here, but again, it doesn't matter, man. This case is awesome. I mean, this is a top quality case. Let me tell you something. There is nothing that feels cheap about this case. What do we have here? Oh, cool. Packaging. I will not be opening this because whoever wins this guitar, I want them to have the kind of full experience, but it looks like you get a little COA, if you will, which is funny. I guess you write in the number yourself, but case is made in China, of course, because everything is coming from China, as we discovered. Also the Indian laurel that they use for the wood. So of course, and you know what else I'm going to do real quick? I will take these covers off right now so that we can sound test that. And again, real Gibson burst bucker pickups. I love the satin finish on this. This isn't quite a VOS, obviously, like on the you know, 59 over there, but it's really what it is. It's kind of like a satin, but man, this thing, there's your serial. Some lucky guy will own this guitar. Man, this thing feels good. I mean, I don't know what Epiphone. And again, I talked to the Epiphone guys at NAMM. I know they had a big overhaul. They had a big restructure of everything. Plastic is still on here too, which is nice. I'm going to let the new owner of this take it off. Really cool, man. Limited edition. I mean, fucking hell, dude, for $990. I mean, this is, it feels also around 8 pounds. You know, listen, I am just blown away right now with the quality of this. I can't speak to how it plays. I haven't played it yet. I don't even want to strum a chord just yet. I'll do that when we get to it in real time. What I will do real quick, remember we talked about these capacitors. Let's open this real quick to see what we got there. And again, you have that handcrafted in China now. So, man, even the finish is just, yeah, man, wow. Okay, let's unscrew this thing real quick and see what we got. So here we have it, and this is a really cool little piece of, I don't know, this is steel, man. This is real good quality. We put it under the light here. And, okay, so you don't have PIOs here, you know, paper and oil bumblebees, but, man, the wiring, man, looks good. Listen, it's hand wired. It doesn't have one of those, as I've seen in the past on the pictures, PC board with you know, just PC connectors. This is really cool, man. And they're, what are they? I can't even tell. Are they 500 watts? It looks like, yeah, 500s. Wow, this is impressive, man. Listen, this is really, really good stuff, man. Wow. This is just truly, truly good stuff. Let's take it out of the case. Before we get over to the amp, I just wanted to give you another cool shot, because I'm just so impressed with how good this guitar looks. I mean, goodness. I mean, I played a bunch of, like, you know, PRSs and, you know, the overseas stuff they make, and it's bolt-on and stuff, and this doesn't even come close to the quality. You know, I'm experienced enough to kind of know off the bat, you know, if a guitar has a little bit of passion behind it. I mean, you can absolutely tell that Gibson is way more involved in this than other companies are in their lesser lines. This, what is it called? Laurel, you know, rosewood or whatever, Chinese rosewood. It doesn't even look bad. I mean, it looks really good, actually. And if you oil this a little bit, you know, it's just going to look fantastic. It definitely needs a little bit of oiling, as most guitars do, because remember, when they leave the factory, they go through a lot of rough weather, overseas, compression on the plane, and this isn't sealed like the body is usually on a guitar. So first thing I always do, and I suggest to people when you get the guitar, restring it, get to know it, and oil it up. And this wood looks fantastic. If you oil this is going to be great. Even the nut is flush. You know what? I'm going to give you something cool here. Check this out. Here's some porn for you. An Epiphone 59 next to a Gibson 59. Just really, really cool shot. Look at that. I mean, this is cool stuff. And again, you can just tell, obviously, how incredibly expensive it would be to get, you know, a real slab of wood that has this kind of pattern to it, versus a veneer. But nonetheless, it just screams quality on the Epiphone. And again, you can tell here, see the, we come on this side, the rolled binding. Right here, you see how the binding goes over the fret edge, as you can see right there. And here, the fret is over the binding. So to save a little bit of time and cost. Now these are obviously super rounded. I'm pressing really hard. And here I feel the sharpness. But again, I would literally get this to the luthier anyway. Because, you know, I'm a little bit OCD. I want him to kind of, I bring all my guitars to Seth and then he sets them up. I assume this has 10s on it. And I will probably, you know, that way you can restring it, dial it in, all the fretboards. Sometimes I like doing it myself too. Watch a good TV show, get it done. But just a great shot. And then why not, since we have him, turn him over and enjoy this beautiful sight. It's just a gorgeous sight, you know. And you can tell, you see the VOS finish on the Les Paul is kind of like an in-between, you know. It's in between gloss, like you would have on this, and satin. I mean, that's kind of really, and then this is really just a satin finish, you know, but a gorgeous one. I mean, again, I'm just absolutely blown away where Epiphone is right now. I haven't even plugged it in. You know, the funny thing is, of course, I know, having played Les Pauls for so long and then not playing them for years, et cetera, kind of was going back and forth. I know the Burstbucker very well. So I don't need to plug it in to tell you this is a great pickup. But how does it, you know, it's really at the end of the day, the playability of the of the guitar. You know, a great engine doesn't mean nothing if the car handles like shit, right? And the same true with a guitar. So, all right, let's see what this beauty can do. As always, I want to show you what we will be using for the sound test. It's annoying when people do a sound test, especially the stores, and don't tell you what they're using because, of course, they're doing a lot of post-production and shredding away. So you think the great playing is the guitar, but it really isn't. It's the player. We're going to keep it very simple. We're going to go to the Jubilee and we're going to warm it up. There you go. And I'm going to run that through the 1936 212. We're going to give these guitars a wonderful complementary, is that even a word? Complementary, whatever, foreigners. A beautiful mic'd pair of the all-time great duo, the Royer 121 and 57, of course. And we're going to blend that in Pro Tools. 2 simple tracks. Oh, we do not need that. We're most definitely not going to use any plugins. And these tracks are going to be completely dry. I'm going to show you that. So there's nothing on there. There you go. And what we're going to do is I'm going to run this board through the Jubilee. Okay. Don't worry about settings. Listen, just know it's a Les Paul, Gibson, or Epiphone through a Jubilee. Okay. It doesn't matter what settings it is. Just know those are the sounds possible. And what we're going to do is turn everything off, but maybe a little delay and a little reverb on the clean channels. On distortion, we'll tone down the delay a little bit. We don't want to mask the sound too much. We're going to stay away from fanciness. We want to expose those pickups. I will not be turning on the compressor, so we're going to turn that off. So we get a pure sound, no EQ, that's off. And noise gate, we probably don't need anyway on the clean channels. So let's have some fun. All right, small brother. Here's your turn. Same exact thing, 10 minutes of clean and 10 minutes of gain. I am stoked to take you out. I'm literally going to tune it up and go right into it. All right, while Pro Tools is dumping the file, I would love to hear some of your opinions. I thought some of the clean sounds were incredible. My thoughts, this is a burst bucker, and clearly it's a burst bucker. It's a very modern, very aggressive sound. It's a good pickup. I don't know if it's one of Gibson's greatest, but it's a really good pickup. And the fact that you get an actual USA burst bucker with this is incredible. I had quite a bit of not a hard time, but I had to work pretty hard to play the last 30 minutes. And you probably noticed the action is a little bit higher. I'm not going to set this guitar up because after this review, I'm going to clean it, put it back in its case, and then I'm going to give it away, you know, on as a gift to somebody. I'm doing a little contest to promote my music video, but and there's incredible buzz on the second and third. Now that's very simple to fix. Obviously, you know, set it up, and if you don't know how, get it to your luthier and have him set it up. And again, if you do that, I would change the strings anyway, put some oil, F1 oil on this fretboard, which is really going to make this sucker pop. I can tell it's aching for some oil. So if you listened to, I don't know if I have Tears in Heaven, I might keep it in there just on purpose so you can kind of hear. The moment I got on the bar chord here, I was really, really struggling. Again, very easy to fix. I don't expect this guitar to come set up like a $7,000 guitar, and it's traveling much further. It's coming from China. And again, this is not a ding against Epiphone, but I think the intonation was okay, and it stays in tune pretty amazing. I don't know if this is going to give you really anything close to a 59 sound. If you wanted that, you would have to change those pickups. You can probably sell these pickups for 150 bucks and then get some, you know, Seymour Duncan pearly gates, or if you really want that 59 tone. What I can tell you is that the neck is very, maybe slightly thinner than a 59 neck would be. But again, it gives you a great vibe. It sounds really, really awesome. I know burst buckers well. I used to play them in the past. Well, not play them, review them in the Les Paul standards. You know, it was a different lineup than Gibson has now. The frets are very sharp. You definitely feel that right here. I can feel that just, you know, you can tell. It is really, get this to a luthier, take 300 bucks, and just set it up to perfection, have him round the frets. But again, careful too, because we're going to talk about that in the end. If you're going to spend 300 bucks on this and then make it a $1,300 guitar, wouldn't you be maybe considering a Les Paul traditional used? I don't know. We'll get to that in a second. But outside of that, I mean, some of the neck pickup tones I thought were to die for. I also think, and this is rare because usually on the higher end guitars, you don't really feel the difference this in such a pronounced manner, I should say. But I do feel that it is not benefiting much from having weak capacitors. I think if you put orange caps in there, it'll really make those burst buckers scream. And again, they're not going to do that, obviously, to save some time and cost, because the wiring is actually pretty good. But I would maybe consider upgrading the caps too. But outside of that, if we're keeping in mind that this is a $999 guitar, well, $1,000 guitar, so far, I have to say it's very impressive. And the thing stays in tune. Let me tell you something. There's nothing that feels cheap on this guitar. This freaking thing rocks. All right, let's get to the distortion. right, so now we are rendering the dirty sounds, and I thought it was some really great stuff there. You can tell the burst bucker is a little bit more generic than, let's say, a 490, 98, a 57. But that's also what makes it so great. You can kind of do your own thing with it. I was on the Crunch channel, remember, on the Jubilee, which is off now and it's resting. But the, you know, I feel like this pickup is a pickup that wants a little bit more oomph. You know, it kind of, it doesn't function very good in the crunch area. It needs a little bit more gain, but in the gain area, it's really, really, really good. And I know that from experience. So, but again, some killer tones. And again, the fact that you're getting real burst buckers with this guitar is just absolutely amazing. I thought there was some really cool stuff. Again, I think this one is a little bit oversaturated, but the neck pickup has some killer tones, man. And I was finally getting the feel on it. Again, the action is a little bit too high for my taste. And down here, it needs a little bit of a setup. But I'm playing it right out of the box. And that was the idea, to do this in real time and see how it would flare compared, you know, to something that costs 7 times more. But anyway, killer stuff. Let's get this into Final Cut. And then kind of going to rest on this for a moment and give you my opinion on both. Let's call it the conclusion. All right, the Epiphone is, and you know what? I'll close this. We don't need that anymore. The Epiphone is absolutely insane, and you can see yes, the plastic here and on the back for the new owner. I'm going to give this guitar away. Actually, now I kind of regret doing this because I kind of almost would have kept it. But let me tell you something. This is insane. This is insane value for the money. This is insane. Insanity. This guitar is stunning. And I'm going to repeat myself. And again, the sound comparison isn't fair because the burst bucker isn't really going to give you a 59 tone, and you can't expect him to do that. So, and I try to purposely play the same licks over and over again, so you kind of get the idea of what, you know, the Epiphone sounds like versus the Gibson. But let me tell you something, man. This is stupid, awesome value for the money. The way this thing looks, the finish on this thing, the craftsmanship, the fact that it's coming from China, and you know what? I'm even more impressed because I remember years ago talking to the guy at NAMM who runs the Epiphone center down there, and he lives down there because, you know, he's in charge. And he told me we had to come together and have a come to Jesus moment because the competition was killing us. And the only choice we had was to just increase the quality to the point where they're so good for under $1,000. And yeah, you can get $700 Epiphones, but this is like the top of the line. This is the most expensive Epiphone you can get. Sorry, the most expensive Les Paul Epiphone you can get. And it is ridiculous. It needs a setup, and I'm not going to hold that against the guitar because, again, it traveled a long way. It's been through 50 different time zones and temperature changes. But if you set this thing up and you round the frets and you oil the fretboard a little bit, you got yourself a killer guitar. Now, there's nothing wrong with having burst buckers in there. Burst buckers are good pickups, but they're not great pickups. If you're going to do all this stuff, I would say change the pickups too. The problem is this, and I'll tell you what the problem is. This is the problem right here. The problem is you're going to spend $1,000 on this, and you absolutely, listen, you absolutely, at the minimum, you have to do the fret rounding and dial this thing in a little bit. And there's no way you're going to be. Just trust me. These things are just too sharp. So you're going to spend probably $80 to $100 on a good setup with strings and neck adjustment, and probably $150, $200 on the fretwork. So you're looking at $300. The problem is this. The problem is this right here. And the problem is that you can go online and buy a good traditional. And you know what? Let's do this in real time. Here, we'll do this together. Let's do this together. This is rendering. So we're going to go to reverb, okay? And we're going to go right here. And we're going to type in Gibson Les Paul Traditional. One of the coolest, badass guitars that Gibson doesn't make right now because they want to sell you this greenie and slash bullshit. And we're going to go to price low to high, okay? And we want the condition to be at least excellent. All right, so humor me. Okay, there you go. I'm going to keep this in frame. All right, and now we're going to click view all results. Okay, so let's see, $1,700. There you go. Okay, so for $1,800, this is a private sale. I bet you you can get this guitar for $1,500. So you see, and now you have a made in the USA. You got the plecked frets. You got American rosewood. You got the binding. The fret binding. You got the real binding. You got a real thick top, mahogany and maple with a real maple top. You got you know what? I don't even know what pickups these are on those. The pickups on this is what? Let's see here. The pickups is I think they had. Is it let's see here if it says real rosewood, cherry, traditional. It doesn't say. I don't know what the pickups were on this, but it could be 57 classics, I think. But doesn't matter. I mean, look at this fucking thing, man. You got yourself a real badass Gibson, made in the USA. This thing is built like. Come on, man. I mean, look at that. So let's say, you know what? I'll split the difference with you, $1,600, okay? And trust me, you can get them for cheaper. If you look locally, you can get that damn guitar for $1,500, okay? So you're gonna spend. I mean, look at this thing. This thing is a freaking tank. This is. You know what? And it plays like a freaking tank. I'm gonna hang this back up, okay? Excuse me while I just get out of frame for a second and put it right where it belongs, right behind the Les Paul Custom. So you're going to spend $1,000 on this, which is insane value for the money. But the problem is it needs work. That's just the reality of it. I don't care if you're a beginner or a pro. You cannot accept sharp frets like this. And so that's going to run you $200 and a setup $100. So you got to put $300 into this guitar. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But now you're at $1,300. You're $300 away from this. Why not just wait? Or put the difference on a credit card, or buy it on a firm, or what do I know? But for $300 more, you get much, I don't know if it's fair to say a better guitar, and you might not care that it's made in the USA. I mean, there's, hey, listen, they make some sick shit overseas. I own a bunch of stuff that's made overseas, and this is just a third of the guitars I own. But the reality is you're gonna get more instrument. You're gonna get a thick maple top. You're gonna get better pickups. You're gonna get better wiring. You're gonna get better rosewood. You're gonna get a deeper tenon. You're gonna get better binding, and you're gonna get better frets. And you're going to get a better playing instrument. And if you add all these little things up, remember, it's always the sum of the little things. You're going to have a better guitar. And this Les Paul Traditional is a better guitar. That's just the reality of it. And a lot of you Epiphone guys, I know, and I love you to death. And I really do, trust me. I mean, I run the group after all. But a lot of you are always like, oh man, this is better than a Gibson, or I don't need to spend Gibson money I'm not going to spend thousands of dollars and plays just as good as a Gibson. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. And can you imagine if it did? Can you imagine if the Toyota outperformed the Lexus? What sense would that make? Lexus will go out of business. Can you imagine if the Acura performed lesser and had lesser materials than the Honda? Can you imagine if the Maserati all of a sudden reviews will come in that the Maserati is better than the Ferrari? You know what that would do to the value of the Ferrari? No, it's not better than the Gibson. It ain't. And it doesn't have to be. And it's not saying that it does. And it's not trying to be. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, here on video, there is no $990 guitar that I know that is better out of the box than this made in China Epiphone. I'm telling you right now, I was legitimately blown away. And I had a hard time playing it. The action's too high. The frets are sharp. It's not set up. And again, I'm not going to hold that against the guitar. I tuned it up and I made it sound as decent as I can. I didn't play no complicated shred stuff that I could have, like, just to impress you on that. I just tried to let the guitar be the star. And there is no better guitar that I know of for $1,000 than this Epiphone. But if you truly want to give it the full potential, you're going to have to put some money into it. And at that point, you're going to be within $200 to $300 of a freaking Gibson Les Paul Traditional. So just give that some thought. I would love your feedback on it. I thank you for watching. I'm actually going to leave you with my last music video, or one of them, to do a little promotion. And then in a week from now, again, today is May 1st, on May 8th, 2023, going to the Gibson, the Epiphone Les Paul Owners group on Facebook. I run this group because I'm going to post. I'm going to come up with something cool to promote my video for somebody to win this guitar. Free of charge. I will pay shipping anywhere in the world. And except for, sadly, Mexico, because I tried to ship a guitar there once and it was a disaster. So, but anyway, killer guitar. Incredible guitar. The value to what you get, the bang for the buck, is absolutely insane. So this thing is going to go back to sleep, and this is going back in its box. I hope you enjoyed this. I look forward to your comments, and I'm stoked to read some of the stuff that you guys have to say. And stay well. Love you all.
People you love never die.
Well, I love my aunt, but she died. And my Uncle Lou, then he died. I'm searching for something which can't be found, but I'm hoping I still dream of Dad, though he died. Everything dies. Everything dies. My mom's so sick, she might die. And my girl's quite fit, she will die. Still looking for someone who was around. Baby, could be. Now I hate myself. Wish I'd die. Everything dies. Everything dies. Everything dies. for something which can't be found.
But I'm hoping